Hello everybody, it's me Gus Spies here, and today we are going to be talking about a movie that I hadn't stopped thinking about since I watched it last week, or technically about 2 weeks now as I've been uploading this. But anyway, it is none other than Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now there is a lot to say about this movie. Let's start first of how I thought of it when it was first announced. When I thought of it when it was first announced, all I can ask was, what story is there to tell? Since I've watched all three of the Planet of the Apes films, and it ended in such a beautiful way, when I heard that they're going to be making a fourth one, all I can ask is, the story is over. What can you do at this point? But then I started taking a deep dive of what mentioning what the story is going to be. I was kind of interested. But I looked at the director's filmography, and he is going by the name of Wes Ball. And if you don't know, he's only known for making those Maze Runner movies that I kind of want to make a video on. And all I can say is they weren't as great. They weren't really that good. But besides all that, I had some pretty low expectations, but I still had somewhat of expectations of the movie being good. And when I watched it, holy Christ, it was such a good movie. Especially coming from a director by Wes Ball who barely made any movies. I was kind of shocked to see that he was able to make such a good movie compared to, what he's made before. And this even shows, for many people like me, like another Nick and some other YouTubers who said Hollywood does not really have an excuse to say why can they not make any good movies, because when you have movies like these coming out, they show that you can still make a good movie no matter if you're creatively bankrupt. Just hire a pretty creative director and writer and a pretty good producer, and you're good. Well, it's not as simple as that, but still, when you have movies like Doom Part 2 coming out and now this movie coming out, this shows that even when a good movie like Fall Guy, for example, is flopping at the box office, you still got some pretty good ones coming out. Some pretty good ones that are starting to succeed. But besides all that, let's go for the movie. The movie is so good, which I would say is a great way which is my great example of creating a legacy sequel, and the great example of what a fourth entry is best at doing: reinventing itself. From reinventing, I meant trying to continue the trilogy, but in a new manner, which is something that usually the fourth entry is having a difficult time doing. But there were some fourth entries that do have that exception of doing it in a good way, from video games to movies in general, like Resident Evil 4, Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, I can kind of go on how many good fourth entries there are. Well, there are a lot of stinkers, but you're more likely to get a 50-50 chance than not like a 9 times out of 10 that you're going to get. 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a bad movie out of a fourth entry. But I'm kind of off topic, but from what I could say, there are some things that I'm not really into, like the way how they killed off Proxima Caesar. But it was so cool that they killed him off with the eagles. But at the same time, I wish he could just be the main villain in the entire trilogy. And they killed off the orangutan, aka I think Raka. And the whole point of him is kind of important because he seems to be the only ape in that society that still understands Caesar and his ideologies. And I thought he could be a pretty good dynamic / rivalry between him and Proxima Caesar, since they do know who Caesar was, but they interpret the Caesar's morality and beliefs in different ways. One twist it in his own words, while the other still honors Caesar himself, even though he's been gone for so long, and mainly tries to redefine him, which sounds like some kind of person that did probably a while back. And it's probably just nothing. And all I can ask is, when they're going to be doing a trilogy, from all I can ask, who's going to be the main villain? It's not Proxima Caesar, unfortunately. But now I think about it, the Planet of the Apes trilogy still has a story, but still create new villains. But I think thing about those villains is that they carve some ideologies that are in Caesar's flaws, and see the consequences of those flaws being ignored. But when you have the story based off of trying to hold the legacy of Caesar, who's going to be the villain that's going to be either against Caesar's beliefs, or twisting the words of Caesar's belief? But I can't be too critique about the potential sequels, because what if they're actually good? But besides that, I'm gonna give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. A good start to a new trilogy.